So you're probably not as good a fighter as you think you are. So how'd that make you feel? Right? So I put that question out there, more curious about what people's reactions would be to it, because I think that everyone's going to have some response to that if they train in probably any martial arts, but armored combat in particular, which is what we're talking about today, because that's what I do. How does it make you feel if I tell you you're not as good a fighter as you think you are? Do you agree with it? Do you think, you know what, I'm not that good? There's people all over the country much better than me, and I'm not really good at this, and it's, I'm not the best that I could be, and I don't train as hard as I could, and I let myself down, I let other people down, and I go, okay, let's talk about that. Like, why do you feel like that? Or you think, screw you, I'm the best there is, I'm the best that there can be, and I work harder than anyone else, and I'll ask you the honest question of, is that true? Really, are you the best? I mean, there are a couple you are, right? I know some of the best fighters, and they can ignore a lot of this video. They're the people who have dedicated their lives and their livelihoods and their lifestyle to this sport. So they live in a gym, they own a gym, they train in a gym every day, like they are fully committed. So to be the best you can be in any kind of martial arts sport, be it boxing, MMA, I mean probably any sport, but particularly this one, which, or anyone that involves kind of fighting someone face to face, striking an opponent, grappling, things like that, you've got to give up a lot of other things to be the best. You've got to put that as your true priority. And not many people are going to do that, and that's okay. So if you are, if you are as good as you can be, and you think, hey, I'm the best, and that's true, and I work at that level, and I want to be doing that. I want to be that guy who owns his gym, lives in a gym, gym, maybe a gym rat type fighter, like that's all you live, breathe, and eat and sleep, bohurt. This video is not for you, right? Like you already know what you're doing. I don't need to make videos. You're probably making videos for other people already. You know who you are out there. But if you reacted to that in one of a couple ways, saying, man, you're right, I'm not that good. I'm not as good as I thought I was. Or you just say, like, I'm not good and I know it. Well, let's talk about what that means. This sport, and the reason I made this video is I saw a really interesting post up, it was probably a month ago. I can't remember who shared it, but it was talking about what it takes to be the best in this sport. And I didn't disagree with a single thing in that post. But I thought, man, that's not me, right? That's not me. I don't have that time. I don't live for just this. I do a lot of things that I love, and I have a lot of hobbies and responsibilities and obligations and things that matter to me. And this sport is a huge part of my life, but I know deep down, like, I'm not as good as I could be. So the question I ask myself often is, am I as good as I think I am? Right? And that's what I want people to think about is, are you as good a fighter as you think you are? Do you know where you stand? And if you're not where you want to be, are you working to be better? Or are you saying, I'm happy where I'm at right now? I'm putting in the X amount of time that I have effectively and efficiently to this sport to get out what I want from it. Now, what could it be that you want? It could be, I just want to fight once every few months at a Renaissance fair or at like a local club match or a beer league or whatever we're going to call it today. It could be that I want to be, the best in the country. Okay, well, are you working at that level? Are you in shape enough to fight? I mean, this is a real question you have to ask for some people in this sport, because you can't just come in, throw on armor, and then be okay. You've got to have some conditioning and training. It doesn't mean you have to, eat, breathe, and sleep, like I said, training, but you do have to be moderately healthy and working out and in shape, because you're going to go out there against someone who's going to swing an axe at you, right? Are you training for the version of the sport that you want, for your discipline? Are you a duelist? And if you are you building up your cardio and your fast twitch muscles and your reactive speeds and all that stuff? Are you a bigger melee tank fighter? Are you staying as strong as you need to be? I mean, you gotta have conditioning and cardio up as well, but you're gonna be focusing in different areas, right? So, I melee is my priority. That's what I prioritize. So I spend less time on duel specific training. I still do them. I still fight in duels locally, and I still do the best I can, but I'm not as good a duelist as I could be. I know that. Because when I have to prioritize, I got to pick, where do I put my time? Now, I've got to put some of that time in there to dueling, and I've got to put some of that time into melee, but it's way more to the melee work. You know, the fitness and the working out and the grappling and the things that are going to help me in that area. And even the role I play in a list. So, you know, if you're not as good a fighter as you think you are, like, think about it. Like, where do you stand? Are you as good as you want to be? I mean, this was a clickbait title, right? Like, that was part of why I put it up. I wanted people to hopefully watch the video and think about it. But a lot of fighting, I really think, is about gaining a certain level of skill, right? So you've got to have baseline skill and baseline cardio. And I've gone through this with this sport and other sports where at first it's about just understanding what to do, right? And then once you know what to do, being able to implement it. Once you're past that, it's about mindset more than anything. Do you have the mindset to train, you know, consistently, to work out? Do you have the mindset to do the things that you don't want to do? Right? Do you want, like, what I mean by that is like, you know, if you prefer lifting weights, are you putting in your Tabata and cardio and whatever time, your endurance time? If you prefer running, are you still putting the weight time? If you know, if you're on a team and your position is going to be a striker, are you putting enough time working with that weapon? Or are you fighting with the weapon that you feel like is cool today? Right? Like, are you putting your time in the right place? So those are questions you have to ask yourself. You know, so if you're doing that, you know, you're doing that. And the next thing is, are you able to reflect on what you want and use that to drive yourself to get better or to be comfortable with where you are? Saw a really interesting documentary recently on Netflix. I honestly can't remember which one it was, but it was talking about, it's a bunch of documentaries on like high-level athletes in different disciplines and their life experiences. And it's just kind of an expose on them. And there was a tennis player who was ranked like top 50 in the world, top 30 in the world, somewhere in there. Never got above it, right? But he talked about how happy he was that whole time, how he got to travel the world, he met his wife, he you know, got to play all over his place, he always got paid to do the thing he loved. It was just the happiest time of his life. And then at one point he decided to become the best he could be. Absolute best he could be. And he dedicated everything. He changed his diet. He trained more than ever. And he did. For a little while, he became number 1 and 2 at men's. And then literally had a mental breakdown eventually and had to struggle with mental health because he pushed himself so hard that, you know, and that was a wake-up call when I was looking at that, thinking about how many times do we only idolize those people who make it to the absolute top and forget about, like, are you happy? Right, so this sport for most of us, and almost all of us, honestly, except for very, very few who, you know, maybe own a gym or like build their business around it or whatever, this is a hobby. So if you don't find yourself enjoying it and loving it and find yourself thinking, oh man, I've got to train, that's all I got to do and that's all that matters because people told me I'm not good enough, like, are you really in this for the right reason? So this is really a wake-up call for a lot of people. Say, hey, like, if someone asks you, like, says you're not as good as you think you are, how does that make you feel? What's your first reaction to that? Like, do you get upset? Do you get angry? Do you get sad? Do you agree? Do you just say, nope, you're wrong, I know how good I am and I'm confident in myself and I'm clear? And really this is kind of meant to challenge your own mindset about thinking about what you want to get out of the sport and how you want to get it. I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments. I'd love to hear what you want to get out of the sport and kind of how you feel when you heard that question. I'd also love to hear, what would you like to see more of and what could I be helpful with? I want to reach out to those fighters who are struggling either with skills or with mindset or with just networking, whatever it is, and help connect you and build you so you can continue to get the best out of the sport, because it's really awesome. It's really unique. It's really amazing to be able to go out there and fight in steel and armor and have people cheer for you and all that. And I want to help everyone have that experience who wants it. So again, my name is Chuck, the Woodchuck Knight. You can like, subscribe, follow, all that wonderful stuff. And let me know what you think.